Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Capo Fetish. This is Tom. Today we're going to do a little ranking, my first ranking. We're going to do the Doors. So let's put this into perspective, right? The Doors formed in '65 on the beach in Venice, officially, with Ray Manzarek and Jim Morrison meeting. And they, let's say it officially ended the day Jim Morrison died 6 years later in the summer of '71. So we're talking a 6-year span. Not very long, right? 6-year span. They released 6 albums, 6 studio albums, 2 in 1967, the self-titled and Strange Days. And then, of course, you know, they had a resurgence in the early 80s with No One Here Gets Out Alive, the paperback, the bestseller, and then the Oliver Stone movie in the 90s, which wasn't a real accurate portrayal, but nevertheless, great acting by Val Kilmer. So, it's an amazing achievement what they did in 6 years. I mean, they released 6 really great records, right? You can hardly even say they lack. They're almost perfect. So let's get on it. I'm going to start with An American Prayer. This is an album that doesn't get a whole lot of love. It's an album released probably 7-8 years after Morrison died. The remaining Doors played some kind of like jazz fusion. I would say it's more like jazz fusion over these poems that Jim wrote. And I got to say, it's really, really cool. The first time I heard it, I liked it. A lot of people don't like it, but there's something really twisted about it that I dig. And let's face it, the poetry is just out there, man. It's way out there. And the playing is great. They could have been a really great like fusion band if they continued. With or without Morrison, they could have done it, But anyway, there's a lot of highlights on here. This is a great, I would say this is a great late night headphone listen. This is one of those type of albums. You want to just lay back, take it easy, put the headphones on, and just really just let this sink in a little bit. It has one of the best versions of Roadhouse Blues recorded live, probably from '70, I would think. But the rest of the album is just dynamite. Please give it a chance. This would be probably number 7, but I still rate it high. The Doors with Jim, American Prayer, released in '78. And of course, this is no surprise. This is number 6, The Soft Parade. Still a great album. There's only a couple of stinker cuts. Tell All the People, not very good. And Easy Ride. What I found out later, that they had an outtake from the session called Who Scared You, which ended up on Weird Scenes Inside the Gold Mine, a compilation. They should have stuck that on this record. That song is killer, Who Scared You? But let's face it, there's a lot of great songs on here. Touch Me, with all that great brass. Wishful Sinful, another tasteful song with brass. A lot of people don't care for the brass section and the horns and everything, but I think that's what makes this album special. You know, it's a little bit of different types of Doors. It's more experimental Doors, more of a pop side of things. But the title track is truly demented and awesome. It comes in like 3 or 4 parts. Petition the Lord with Prayer ends up at the beginning, and then they go into all these weird little phrases and who knows what. And then there's some great rockers on here. You've got Shaman's Blues, and you've got, what is that one track that I really dig? Wild Child. Wild Child. A really great album. Only really 2 songs I don't like, but I rate it high. A lot of people don't dig it. I dig it. Number 6, Doors, Soft Parade. Number 5, final album by the Doors, L.A. Woman. Here's an original pressing right here from '71. With a little insert there. A great way to end their career, even though they probably didn't think this would be it. My favorite song in here is The Hyacinth House, though of course the title track's killer. I love all the blues numbers, Been Down So Long, Crawling King Snake, love The Wasp, love Riders on the Storm, La America, all of it is awesome. Jim sounding at his most hoarse here, but it really goes with the bluesy type tunes. He sounds kind of like Howlin' Wolf at times. Great album. Number 5, L.A. Woman, The Doors. Number 4, kind of a mid-period Doors album here. I kind of consider like there's 3 parts of the Doors, right? There's the first 2 albums, self-titled, and Strange Days, which is more of their dark psych period. And then you've got this album and the Soft Parade, which is more of their pop, experimental kind of jazz phase, but there's not a lot of jazz on there. It's mainly on Soft Parade. But then you've got that third period with Morrison Hotel and LA Woman, where they're returning to the roots. They're doing the blues. So there's really like three parts to the Doors story. And this is kind of the start of their pop period. There's a little bit of the old Doors in here with Not to Touch the Earth and Mile Wild Love. And but otherwise, there's some really nice ballads. Wintertime Love, Summer's Almost Gone, Yes, the River Knows, awesome, really understated little guitar solo by Robbie Krieger. Spanish Caravan, so good. Love Street, another ballad. So it's heavy on the ballads. A couple of nice rockers. The real stompy, dirty 5-1 ends the album. But a high tier Doors album. A lot of variety on here. That's what I like about it. And that's number 4 for me on the Doors ranking. Number 3 is Morrison Hotel from 1970. This album really has a nice flow from beginning to end. Side 1 with Roadhouse Blues, Waiting for the Sun, You Make Me Real, Peace Frog, Blue Sunday, and Ship of Fools, Perfection. And then side 2, Land Ho, The Spy, Queen of the Highway. Both those songs very underrated. Indian Summer, I think an outtake from the first album. Doesn't really sound that out of place, even though it does sound kind of from 67. But ends with Maggie McGill, real hard blues. Excellent record, probably one of the most flowy records, just flows really nice, and a nice return to form after their more experimental period prior with Soft Parade. So number 3, Morrison Hotel, The Doors. Number 2 is the self-titled album, The Doors. Of course, everybody knows this record who knows The Doors. My favorite cuts are kind of the deep ones. I love End of the Night, Crystal Ship. Alabama Song is great. Of course, the whole album is great from start to finish. Came out in early 67, recorded late 66. One of the best debuts of all time, and one of the best albums of 67, a real landmark. And this is number 2 on my Doors ranking. Doors, self-titled. And number 1 is Strange Days, my favorite Doors record. This is them at their most psych and most dark and most carnivalesque. Sounds like you're going to a carnival. Strange Days, Your Lost Little Girl, a nice little solo there by Robbie Krieger, real clean and melodic and sweet. Love Me 2 Times, another great poppy song, Unhappy Girl. Of course, Horse Latitudes and Moonlight Drive. Side 2 is perfect. People Are Strange, My Eyes Have Seen You, I Can't See Your Face in My Mind. 2 of my favorite Doors songs right there. My Eyes Have Seen You and I Can't See Your Face in My Mind. And of course, the epic When the Music's Over. Perfect record. My number 1 on Doors ranking albums. And then if we're talking about compilations, there have been a lot of Doors compilations over the years, a ton, mainly more focusing on the hits and the more radio cuts, but I always prefer Weird Scenes Inside the Gold Mine, which came out in 72. Has a lot of the deeper cuts, like Running Blue and Spanish Caravan and Peace Frog and Strange Days. And I think it shows really more what the Doors were about, more their dark energy and their more experimental side. So I highly recommend this of all their compilations. And then as far as like documentaries go, there have been a lot of documentaries, of course the Oliver Stone movie, but if you want the real deal, I think this is the one to see, When You're Strange. It was narrated by Johnny Depp. Came out in 2009. I think it really portrays the Doors in the light they should be portrayed, as in very, very top-rate band, very original. They made an impact on the world, and it's just great all the way through. Highly recommend it. When You're Strange documentary, Doors. And then just for kind of collectors, I recommend this. This came out maybe 2017. This is all the Doors singles, even through the minus Morrison days when it was just a 3-piece. All the singles are on here. They're great. All replicated really well with original labels. They really get down to the nitty gritty here. Check this out here. So here's the first single, Break On Through, with the original sleeve. right? And then you've got the cool original Electra label. Look at that. With a little girl on top, the Electra lady with the Electra light sign. So I highly recommend getting that if you're a diehard like myself. Really cool as a collector. And there you go. There's the Doors discography and rating. Let me know what you think of the Doors albums in the comment section. Please press subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. And thank you so much, and you have a good one. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.